What is dead will finally need to be thrown out since we are dealing with the energy of Scorpio, the death and rebirth cycle, which is all about transforming our lives. Welcome back, Astro fam. It's me, Mandy Rose, your relational astrologer, and today I am going to be your guide, helping you navigate this wild ecliptic energy happening on May 5th with this full moon lunar eclipse in the zodiac sign of Scorpio. So we have a lot to talk about with this energy. It is going to feel like the ending we have been needing for a very long time. This is the final eclipse in the zodiac sign of Scorpio for the next 9 years. So this is a monumental lunation for 2023. The energy may hit you like a tidal wave, but don't worry, once we wash it away, once we navigate it and move through it, you are going to come out like the phoenix rising from the ashes. That is the archetype of Scorpio, really dealing with all things that need to be cut away. All the dead ends need to be removed so that you can feel lighter and brighter and transformed. So let's go ahead and dive right into this energy. The first thing we need to understand as we approach May 5th is we are already in eclipse energy. We have previously had an eclipse that began a new cycle in Aries back on April 20th. So we are in the portal of the new moon solar eclipse that happened in Aries on April 20th, and this full moon lunar eclipse that's going to be wrapping up the spring eclipse energy on May 5th. So we're in the thick of it as we move into this current eclipse that we're talking about today. Also understanding that the South Node, which is what's causing this eclipse on May 5th, will not be back in this position in the zodiac energy of Scorpio for 19 years. It has been 19 years since we've been through this cycle. So this is something that doesn't come around very often. Very important to understand where this energy has played out within your own birth chart to help you make sense of this transition, of this chaos, of this shift in your life. Now, because this is the final eclipse after a very long cycle in the energy of Scorpio, we are going to feel like it is time to let go. Like we are just opening up our hands, releasing the dead weight and saying, you know what, once and for all, I release, I bless, and I clear this out of my life. So if you are in a very big purge right now, whether that's emotionally, relationally, maybe within your home life, maybe within your career, like maybe you are just ready to throw everything that doesn't serve you away, you are in alignment with the universe. It's uncomfortable. It is definitely bringing up fears and need for control, but that is all very common when we're dealing with the energy of Scorpio. We'll dive way more into that in just a moment. But something that we need to understand when it comes to any kind of new or full moon in the energy of Scorpio is that Scorpio is a fixed sign. Fixed signs like Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius do not like to change. It takes a lot of exertion, a lot of opposition, a lot of force, if you will, from other planets and other energies to make these things shift, break, snap, whatever. And so being a fixed energy and having an eclipse kind of coming in and bringing in the volatility and bringing in the powerful, potent movement of something to our lives, it's going to feel like this thing in your life that you're letting go of around this time has been needing to break, needing to release for so long. And although it's scary and it's bringing up all these emotions, it's going to be okay, because as it gets transformed, it will be fixed in a new position that's going to last you and that is going to feel in more alignment. So with that intro being said, let's go ahead and dive first into the basics of this full moon so you can put it on your calendar. This full moon happening in the zodiac energy of Scorpio, again, as a lunar eclipse, is happening on May 5th at 1:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're going to want to go ahead and adjust for your time zone. In addition to that, is happening at 14 degrees of Taurus. We'll pull up the chart here so you can see what that represents. You can go ahead and pull up your own birth chart and see if you have any planets in the center degrees of the energy of Taurus and of the energy of Scorpio, because we can see here the sun is at 14 degrees of Taurus, the moon being directly across, making it a full moon at 14 degrees of Scorpio. Now, anytime we have a lunation in the smack dab middle of a zodiac energy, it means that it's going to be powerful because it's in the middle. It is surrounded and engulfed by that zodiac energy. So this is reactivating a lunation that we had back in November of 2021. I know that seems like so long ago, but that's actually when this eclipse cycle in the energy of Scorpio began. And that was also in the center degrees of these energies. And so think back to the fall of 2021. What was beginning in your life? What was starting to shift? What were you noticing within yourself that was needing to make a dramatic transformation? This eclipse energy has been working on and working on and working on that one thing. And here we are on May 5th, ready to snap and break it and transform it and release it once and for all. Now, in addition, I want to just bring this up really quickly. We are also in a Mercury retrograde. And we can see here that Mercury is heavily involved with this full moon lunar eclipse energy. And he is retrograding from 15 degrees of Taurus back to 5 degrees. So this 14-degree point in the sky where this eclipse is occurring, Mercury is also putting in his energy, crossing over this 14 degrees of Taurus 3 times during his retrograde season. In addition to that, as we fast forward to the month of September, Jupiter will also retrograde at these exact same degree points of 15 degrees of Taurus back to 5. So even though this eclipse is wrapping up now, this energy is clearing out, we are blessing and releasing, Jupiter will come back as we move through the summer and into the fall to this exact same part of your life, to these exact same degree points in a retrograde, meaning he will hit it 3 times and bring blessing, bring abundance, bring expansion. Jupiter is the planet of luck and prosperity. Where this eclipse occurred, where we snapped and let go, and he is going to bless, bless, bless. So don't worry, this empty space, this void, this confusion is going to be filled with Jupiter's blessing as he crosses over 14 degrees of Taurus 3 times in the rest of 2023. Before we get into the specifics, I want to do a quick recap of eclipse energy so that we can better understand what's actually going on a higher level as we're experiencing this lunation. Remembering that eclipses deal with what we call in astrology the nodes of fate. It deals with this horseshoe shape, the upright horseshoe, which is the north node, the north star. This is the energy that we're moving into, what's being eclipsed into our life, newness, if you will. Then we have the south node of karma, which is the upside down horseshoe. This is the energy of which we are removing, releasing, letting go of, moving away from so we can get closer to the north node, our north star. Now, these nodes are not celestial bodies, they are not planets, they are not stars, they are nothing that you would see if you look up into the sky, because they are simply representations, imaginary points in space, if you will, that when the sun, the moon, and the earth line up on the axis, I'll pull up an image here so you can better understand it, when the earth, sun, and moon line up at that point, we will experience an eclipse from our perspective here on Earth. And so when we pull up the chart, let's say we pull up the chart right here of this full moon in Scorpio happening on May 5th, we see the horseshoes represented in the chart very close to the sun and the moon. And that's how we know we are going to experience an eclipse. So you can go ahead and pull up your own unique birth chart and see if in your chart you have the sun and the moon next to each other in your chart. If they are next to each other in the same zodiac sign within a couple degrees, you were born under new moon energy. And if one of those horseshoes is near that position, you were born under a new moon solar eclipse. Now on the other side, if you were born with the sun directly opposite the moon in your chart in opposing zodiac energies at about, again, the same degree point, you were born under a full moon. And if the horseshoes are near the sun and the moon, then you were born under a full moon lunar eclipse. So what this essentially means on an energetic level is when we're dealing with eclipses, we are dealing with, again, the nodes of destiny. So we are eclipsing things in and out of our life that is helping us get back on track. It's a course correction from the universe to get us back on track with our purpose, our mission, what we're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. Yes, we are souls in a human body, but oftentimes our humanness takes the steering wheel, and that can lead us way off track with our soul's mission and our soul's purpose. And so eclipses are opportunities of the universe to step in and say, course correct, get back on track. I'm going to eclipse this into your life so you see how amazing this is for you and help guide you on your path to the next chapter and the next step in your life. Or I'm going to eclipse something out of your life. Maybe you don't want to let go of it on your own. Maybe it's not serving you and you just don't see that yet. So the universe kind of moves in and eclipses things in and out. So around eclipses, our free will is tied a little bit. So you don't want to necessarily manifest or release or really work hard to change things in your life. Remembering eclipses are the nodes of destiny. So things are going to happen as they're supposed to. So sit back, be present, pay attention, honor what comes in, bless the things that are being released, and just wait for the puzzle pieces to be rearranged. Again, this full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio is the final one of this chapter. This is it. Like, this is just the time to cut the dead weight out of your life. And so just honor anything that is moving out or transitioning through at this time. In addition, we have to understand the energy of Scorpio to truly understand what this eclipse is trying to remove and release, the energy that we're working with. The eclipses move through a lens or a perspective or a vibe, and that's the zodiac sign. So as this eclipse energy is eclipsing things in and out, getting us back on track with our free will, with our destiny, it is going to take a specific lens or specific vibes in the way in which it's going to move us into the next chapter. And this vibe and this lens is Scorpio. We first have to start with the element. Scorpio is a water energy. Anytime we deal with water, we deal with emotions, we deal with feelings, we deal with intuition, we deal with our sensitivity. And when we're talking about Scorpio as a water energy, it's the deepest emotions, the deepest intuition that you can feel. I call it like the white water rapids of the water signs because it deals with the emotions and the feelings that we don't necessarily like to experience. So we're talking with Scorpio energy, things like jealousy, obsession, loyalty and betrayal. We're dealing with power, control, and manipulation. We're dealing with secrecy. We're dealing with all those primal feelings that we feel, but we feel shameful for, or we don't want to acknowledge because it's too difficult. So when we're talking about Scorpio energy, especially around eclipses, these are the themes. These are the emotions that might be coming up. You might be noticing people trying to be more manipulative, more controlling. It's a full moon, so we're releasing again and letting go. We're seeing things clearly in the middle of the night because the moon is at full peak lunation. We're able to see everything in the night that we normally can't because of the full moon. And so now you might be seeing secrets revealed. You might be seeing people in a new light with their power hungriness, with their manipulation tactics. You might be noticing that people are obsessed with the right or the wrong things. You yourself might be recognizing your own indulgence, your own obsessions, your own jealousy, your own need to control everything in your life. These deep, intense emotions and feelings might be heightened around this time. And also things might be eclipsed out of your life that are dealing with these themes, dealing with these topics. Now, Scorpio also deals with death and rebirth. So this is a very powerful eclipse, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, because Scorpio is going to transform. And the only way that we can transform through the energy of Scorpio is by literally burning things down to rubble, letting it die completely. Like not a half living plant, but truly a completely wilted plant that has to start brand new with new roots and a new foundation so that the flowers can be bigger and brighter and stronger. So when we're dealing with this Scorpio final eclipse, we are going to cut off the deadness in our life. Anything that is stuck, stagnant, old, like ew. Anything that feels ew is time to let go during this energy. Now, some other energy that we can experience around the time of a Scorpio lunation is things like resiliency, rejuvenation, regeneration. We're really dealing with a lot of healing. Now, when we're having a lunation in the energy of Scorpio, we are dealing with the areas of life that are very taboo. So Scorpio rules things like sex and death and intimacy. Scorpio rules over death and illness, sex and intimacy, personal finances, specifically the ones that you have from another person or money that you acquire from other people, like inheritances, taxes, windfalls of money like the lottery, investments, your partner's assets, And it also deals with our psychological fears, traumas, and triggers, those deep emotions, again, that we don't necessarily share openly with others. So these could be all areas of your life that you've been experiencing a transformation in. Maybe you have been in the darkness in one of these areas since November of 2021, since this cycle began. But you can be rest assured that as this eclipse energy plays out and we move through it, these dark places, these taboo spaces in your life are going to regenerate, or we're going to rejuvenate as this Scorpio death and rebirth cycle begins, and we are going to transform this energy. Scorpio deals a lot with the energy of karma, right? Death and rebirth, this transformation of life. And as we clear out old karma and things that maybe we've done wrong in our life or even in previous lifetimes, we can transform this energy. And also, as good karma comes around, we can use that as momentum to keep moving forward and bringing more healing to ourselves and healing to other people. Scorpio has a very positive healing energy, and sometimes you have to open the closet and go into the darkness and see all the skeletons and draw out all the things that no longer serve you, to clear them up and to clear them out. And so it's been a challenging cycle, and this final eclipse is going to help us wrap it up, cut it out, and move on into the next chapter of our life. So with those basic foundations of what eclipse energy is, how volatile and potent it can be, how our free will is tied a little bit, and that it's happening through the lens of Scorpio, death and rebirth, transformation, healing, regeneration, and rejuvenation, we can now go ahead and dive into the specifics and see what the other life coach planets are up to at the time of this lunation to better support us and give us more messages on how to navigate through this energy. So pulling up the chart here, of course, we are going to find the sun at 14 degrees of Taurus, the moon at 14 degrees of Scorpio. The nodes of destiny are in their final energy in Taurus and Scorpio. We see them here at 4 degrees, and they are moving into Aries and Libra by the time we get to July. So with all that foundationally being understood, we can see that we have some other energies hanging out in Taurus alongside the sun. These two life coach planets, one being Uranus and the other being Mercury, they play a pivotal role in attributing to the energy we're going to feel and experience around the time of this eclipse. Uranus has been in Taurus since 2019, so we've been feeling his energy here for quite some time. Remembering that Uranus is the rebel and the revolutionary of the planets, he is moving us into the future with sudden, jolting, shocking changes. And so anytime you have Uranus involved with the volatile, ecliptic energy around a lunation, we might get some sudden, shocking, unexpected revelations. That's going to help us what? Release and let go, full moon, through Scorpio transformation, cutting off the dead weight, realizing that it doesn't serve us anymore, so that we can heal, so we can start a new cycle, start a new chapter in rebirth from the things that are darkness in our life. And so Uranus is going to bring even more intensity, more volatility. This may be, again, secrets being revealed suddenly, shockingly, that you didn't even know could possibly be a secret. You might suddenly, unexpectedly realize and recognize someone else's need for control and the way that they've been manipulating you, that you, again, maybe didn't even recognize. And now this is the final moment of like, aha, I get it. I'm going to rebel. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to change the trajectory of my life because I'm not going to be manipulated by this person any longer, or I'm not going to be under the control of this person, place, or thing any longer. These can be even your own addictions, your own patterns, your own belief systems. This could be you literally having too much control over your own life and maybe needing to bless and release and allow and flow. So you might notice that you're the one having too much control. Maybe you're the one trying to manipulate your circumstances in your environment. And now Uranus is giving you this sudden revelation, this unexpected experience happens in your life. And you're like, oh my gosh, this cannot happen anymore. Time to let it go once and for all. Now, the other planet we have on the other side of the sun is Mercury, remembering that Mercury is retrograde. So he's already been at 14 degrees of Taurus twice, and he will come back a third and final time after his retrograde is over. Remembering anytime that we are in a Mercury retrograde, we should be going inward. This is not the time to be out in the world signing contracts, having conversations, launching new projects, starting new things, acquiring new assets, making investments, buying things. Like, we should be going inward right now and revisiting, re-looking, re-analyzing, reassessing, redoing, re-editing, using our mind, Mercury, using our ability to look at things from a different perspective as Mercury is shifted and going backwards. This is going to help us really analyze what needs to be cut out, what needs to be released. Once and for all, we're going to see it with fresh eyes as Mercury's mindset is different during this time. And it's happening in Taurus. It's not just that Mercury's retrograde at this time, it's that he's retrograde in the same energy of this eclipse, in the energy of Taurus, assisting the sun and shining brighter and highlighting it and making it even more noticeable. So these two planets are very much of assistance to help us release once and for all with this final eclipse in Scorpio. Now, like I do with all the new and the full moon videos, we have to talk about the ruling planet of the lunation. And because we are dealing with a full moon in Scorpio, the ruling planet of Scorpio is Mars, but it also has a co-ruler, and that is Pluto. So we're gonna go ahead and look on the chart first where Mars is and then where Pluto is. Mars is in the energy of Cancer, also a water energy. Now, Mars is the masculine. It takes action, it makes decisions, it moves us forward. And Mars was actually the ruling planet of the eclipse we had on April 20th, the new moon in Aries, because Mars rules Aries and it rules Scorpio. So both of these eclipses that we experience back to back within 2 weeks are both ruled by Mars. So if you feel like in your life you've really wanted to make a decision, to take action once and for all, to change something in your life, to do that masculine thing and go forward on something, that is why, because both eclipses were ruled by Mercury, taking action, making things happen. Now, Mars is in Cancer. We've talked a little bit about this before, but Mars being in Cancer is a water energy alongside Scorpio. They are both water energy, so we're using a lot of intuition at this time. We are making decisions based on how we feel, how we experience something, not on logic, not on rational, not on practicality, not on analytics, not on any of that. Right now, Mars in Cancer is helping us make decisions based on our intuition, how something makes us feel. And so at this eclipse, we are releasing things because they don't feel good anymore. Like in your soul, it does not feel good. You intuitively know with your gut instincts that this is not in alignment for you anymore. And when we feel things so strongly, and when we know in our soul that things aren't right for us, it is a hell of a lot easier to let go, isn't it? So Mars in Cancer at this time is really assisting us in this final release energy. Now, Pluto being the co-ruler, Pluto we can see is now in Aquarius. This has been a major conversation if you've been following my astrology or any other astrologers. We've been talking about Pluto moving into Aquarius. He's only at 0 degrees of Aquarius, but he has not been here in over 250 years. So this is a new energy. This is something that no one on planet Earth has experienced before. And Pluto is in what we call in astrology a T-square to the nodes of destiny. Because anytime you have a planet that is 4 zodiac signs away or in a 90-degree angle, that is what we call a square. So we can see then that Pluto is in a square to the north node of destiny at 4 degrees of Taurus, and also in a square to the south node of Karma at 4 degrees of Scorpio. This is what we call a T-square because it kind of looks like a T. And so Pluto not only is the co-ruler of this eclipse, but he is heavily engaged in the energy exchange around this time. And Pluto wants transformation. Pluto wants change. Pluto wants to dredge up all the darkness and bring it into the light and say, here you go, here's the mess, clean it up, transform it, rejuvenate it, bring life into it. And so he is only at 0 degrees of Aquarius, but this is shifting us into a new era, into a new timeline that is going to help shift us collectively in society towards humanitarianism, towards the future, towards supporting one another in a collective way. So this is a beautiful energy that's in full support, saying, hey, the old way that we've lived, the old traumas, the old fears, the old secrets, the old need to control, the old way of manipulating things, the old ways of making decisions, the old shit has to go, because Pluto in Aquarius is a whole new vibe. So it's beautiful to kind of see that harmony at this time. Now we have a lot of other astro weather events happening in the month of May that's going to play out around this eclipse energy. So I want to give you a couple highlights so you can pay attention as you move through this energy. Jupiter, for instance, we can see here from the chart is at 27 degrees of Aries. He is on his final stretch, and on May 15th, he is going to move into the energy of Taurus, where this eclipse occurred. So yes, we are releasing. Yes, we are letting go. But remember, I said earlier at the beginning of this video, Jupiter is going to move into Taurus and he is going to be here for an entire year. So this area of your life that you've released and let go of, you cut the dead weight out, Jupiter is stepping in to bring blessing, expansion, growth, prosperity, and a lot of luck. That's what Jupiter does. And he has not been in Taurus in 12 years. So this is beautiful timing, beautiful energy for him to show up in Taurus when we get to the middle of the month. And remember, Jupiter is going to retrograde here, so you are going to get a second chance to bring even more abundance to this area of your life. So don't worry, whatever has got to go is going to be recharged in a beautiful Jupiter energy way. And also around that time, Mars, the ruler of these two eclipses, will finally move into Leo. This is a fire energy. Mars loves to be in fire signs. He has not been in a fire energy in almost a year. So this is long overdue. When that happens in the middle of the month, Mars into Leo is going to help us take action, make decisions in a fiery, bold, passionate way, expressing ourselves, showing up, wanting to be seen, wanting to be recognized, wanting to be praised. And we are kicking off a whole bunch of Leo energy that is playing out for the rest of the summer, as Venus also is going to be retrograding in the energy of Leo. So a lot of fire, a lot of passion, a lot of intensity coming to us as we move through the month of May and through the rest of the summer. So just know that this eclipse, it might feel dark, it might bring up a lot of fears and traumas and triggers and a lot of just, I gotta let it go. Don't worry, the energy is going to get lighter and brighter and more passionate and more exciting in different ways. I'm going to wrap up this video with giving you 3 activities that you can do around the time of the eclipse to maximize this energy and to move through it a lot easier. First thing that I think is so important to incorporate into your life around the time of this eclipse is some emotional healing. We are dealing with Scorpio, deep, dark, repressed emotions. Like I said, secrets, jealousy, loyal, obsession, betrayal, control, manipulation, the deep darkness, your fears, your traumas, your triggers, those are going to come up. They are going to bubble. And so getting some emotional support will be wonderful around this time. That is either going back to see your therapist or finding a new therapist, a counselor, a mentor, someone that can hold space for you, someone that allows you to move through your emotions. This could be someone who does breath work or acupuncture, sound bowl healing, anything that allows you to process those deep emotions and support you during the energy of this eclipse. The second thing I would do around the energy of this full moon eclipse is to do a fire or water ritual. I say fire because we're dealing with the energy of Mars, and I say water because Scorpio is a water element. And so what does that look like? Well, you can do a fire release ritual by writing on a piece of paper all that you desire to release, what is removing out of your life once and for all, and burn that piece of paper. Or you can do that same thing with water. You can cleanse and release and pour water over things that you're ready to wash away from you. So there's a lot of different ways. Follow your intuition, do what feels right, and you can never go wrong. The third thing that I would do around the time of this eclipse is do a pleasure practice. Scorpio deals with sex and intimacy. Taurus is the zodiac energy of our sensuality, of things that bring us pleasure, things that smell nice and taste nice and feel nice on our skin. So when we're dealing with an eclipse in Taurus and Scorpio, we are dealing with the axes of pleasure. So doing a pleasure practice, whether that's self-pleasure, whether that's getting with a partner and being a little bit more intimate, taking a little bit more time. Pleasure can come in the form of an amazing meal that either you cook or you go out and eat. Pleasure can come to you through like essential oils or burning a nice candle. So make it unique for you. So with all that, thank you so much for letting me guide you through this ecliptic energy. I send you so much love and light and healing and transformation. I will see you on the other side. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll be back with a whole lot more astro weather videos. And in the meantime, you can follow me on TikTok at the Relational Astrologer. Sending you love and light. I will catch you in the next video.